Hi there, interior design lovers. Welcome back to the Business of Beautiful Spaces, the podcast where we blend design inspiration with all behind-the-scenes tips and tricks you need to thrive in your business. I'm your host, Laura Thornton, and with over 27 years in this interior design game and running a 7-figure design company, trust me, I've seen it all. I want to be your interior design bestie. I want to help you build the business of your dreams, make more money, and yes, ditch the stress along the way. I've been doing this for a long time, and now I'm sharing my knowledge with all of you, my fellow designers and decorators. All I ask in return is that you like, review, and follow this podcast wherever you listen, so other designers can find us and learn more too. So grab a coffee, get comfy, and let's dive into making 2025 your best business year yet. Welcome back to another episode of the Business of Beautiful Spaces, the podcast that helps you grow not just as a designer, but also as a Swabi business owner. I'm your host, Laura Thornton, and today we're tackling a topic that every designer, no matter how experienced, faces from time to time. And that is what to do when your clients or your leads ghost you. Yep, we've all been there. We've had a wonderful discovery call, maybe even sent out a proposal or a contract, and then radio silence. No responses to your emails, your DMs, or any texts that follow up. It's really frustrating, and it's easy to take it personally. But here's the truth. Most of the time, it's not about you. Sometimes it's life gets busy. Sometimes your message simply fell through the cracks. But as business owners, it's our job to have a system that gently and professionally re-engages our clients or potential clients, and in hopes of getting the feedback that we need. So today I'm sharing 5 actionable ways to handle being ghosted by a client or by a lead that maybe can help you move forward confidently and keep your pipeline healthy. So I don't know if you engage or use a progress tracker, but that's what I do here at Thornton Design, and I've done it for decades. And, every time there's a lead or something that comes in that I learn about, I put it into our tracker. So it'll have the client's potential client's name, a phone number, an email, whatever the case may be. And I recommend using something simple like that, or if you have CRM programming, you can use that as well, or even just a spreadsheet that lists all active leads and when you last contacted them. What is the next step? Are you going to follow up? How many follow-ups are you going to have in your sequence or in your process? For us, it's 3. And this tracker will help you spot who's gone quiet and what follow-ups are part of your routine or something that you needed to do to remember or not to feel awkward. So pro tip, set up an automated reminder in your calendar so that nobody slips through the cracks. So if someone reaches out to us, we try within 48 hours to send an email back out to them. And then we will make a note, and in a couple of days' time, if we haven't heard, we'll send another reminder, and then we wait about a week and we send another reminder. And at that point, email is clearly not the way that we pick up a phone call. So we'll get to phone calls later in this episode, but that's our sequence. But I want to talk to you about something that's called the magic email technique. Now, if you've never heard about this, this is one of my favorite tools for handling ghosted clients, the magic email. If you've never heard of it, it's a simple little email that almost, magic for getting a response from clients or leads who have gone silent. So the concept comes from a sales expert. I think the name was Blair Inns. And here's how it works. Instead of chasing, nudging, and sending endless, I'm just following up emails, you send a short permission-based note that removes all pressure from the client and actually invites them to say no. Why? Because sometimes people feel awkward admitting they've changed their minds, or they've gone in the wrong direction. They aren't ready yet. Maybe they didn't realize how much it was going to be. So the magic email gives them a graceful exit, and that's often what they're finally after and will reply. So a classic email goes something like this. Hi, client name. I haven't heard back from you, so I'm going to assume your priorities have shifted or the timing isn't right. If that is the case, please just let me know and I'll close out your file for now. If I've got that wrong, please let me know how you'd like to move forward. Here's why this works. A, it removes pressure. You're not demanding a response, just acknowledging reality. It gives the client the control, so now they can say no guilt-free. Or let them know if they want to keep talking. So if maybe it was a matter of getting into the right budget, maybe it was a matter of whatever the case may be. We don't have to go down that rabbit hole, but it also gets you out of limbo. So instead of wondering if you should keep following up, if you want to get closure, this is one way to do that. And I can't tell you how many times I've sent this email and heard back within hours. Sometimes it's an apology. Sometimes it's, oh, geez, Laura, life got crazy. Let's reconnect. And sometimes it's simply, thank you very much for your time, but things have changed on our end, so we're not ready right now. No matter what that answer is, you're no longer waiting, you're no longer wondering. And if you haven't tried it, add the magic email to your follow-up system. It can be a total game changer for getting clarity and moving forward. And whether you win the client or you free up space for some great new opportunity, because I'm the first one who will always believe there's a reason for everything and something is going to fall into place. So try the magic email method. I think this one would really be helpful to a lot of people. I hadn't heard of it. And once I did, I use this and it's a great tool. So mix up your methods. Do not just rely on email. Sometimes we have zero idea how old the in person that we are talking with on email is. Maybe this person isn't great with email. Maybe this is an older individual who isn't having a phone in their hand 24/7. Maybe they're retired. I have a lot of clients now who are getting older and they're not working. So they don't have a phone in their hand. They're now in retirement age and it's not something that's important to them. So sometimes they don't look at emails for 3 days. So guess what? Email is not the best way to get a hold of these individuals. Pick up the phone. If you listen to me for a long time, I'm not a fan of text message. I do not find it professional. I do not use it in my business. Text is reserved for family and friends. So I don't personally use it in my business, but I know people who do. So if text message feels more personal for you, try that method. I would definitely think that the phone should be your first go. It's a little old school, but it goes a long way to hear someone's voice and they get a feel for who you are and how you speak. If you haven't had a chance to have an opportunity to talk to them, they're just getting emails that are maybe super professional. They're not getting a vibe of who you are. And maybe with a phone call, you're much more personable and they feel so much more comfortable in telling you where the problem falls, whether that be the investment or whether they're not ready or they've changed their mind, whatever the case may be. Sometimes that phone call goes a long way. I mean, again, not a big fan of the social media, but if that's how they reached out to you, nothing's wrong with DMing back. Sometimes it can cut through all the clutter. Even LinkedIn, if that's how they found you, you can go back to that messaging board and reach out that way. The good old-fashioned phone call is not dead. Sometimes just hearing a real voice is all it takes to rekindle a conversation. So I'm going to tell you to try that one first. So ask for feedback directly and gently. If a lead or a client comes back and says they are no longer interested, or you finally get a response, thank them and ask for feedback. Something along the lines of, "Thanks so much for letting me know. For my own growth, may I ask if there was something in my process or proposal that didn't fit your needs at this time? I always want to improve." And most people appreciate your professionalism, and you probably will get the insight that helped you refine your services for the next client. And automate a check-in sequence to stay on their radar. So I build a re-engagement sequence into my process. For example, I was mentioning earlier that on day 2, I follow up with, an added just checking to see if you had any questions about a proposal. Day 5 might be personal touch point, like I thought of your project when I saw this new trend or idea. And day 10, the magic email or the phone call. But here's an extra tip that a lot of decorators, designers might miss. I set myself a calendar reminder to reach out to that lead again in a few months' time. Circumstances may change, budgets open up, new projects pop up, and sometimes they just need that gentle nudge or a, "Hey, I'm just checking in to see if anything has changed, if you need our services." And you'd be amazed how many times projects come back to life because you stayed on top of mind. And there's another way to keep your business on the radar. Even if you don't reply this way, I always add into our last touch point of the sales process, so whether that be the email or a phone call, that, you know what, I'm going to add you to our newsletter so that you can see what we're up to. And this way they can always opt out. So keep in mind, not everywhere is legal. So know your parameters of this. But if I tell them I'm going to do it, I'm going to add you to our newsletter so that you can stay in touch when you're ready, get that permission, and now you can mention this to them. If I don't hear from you, I'd love to add you to our monthly newsletter so you can stay inspired and see our latest projects. Of course, if you prefer not to receive these updates, just let me know. So you can add that in your phone call or you can add that into your last email. Always make sure you're following the email marketing laws in your country, as I mentioned, province, state, country, whatever the case may be. Some places will require consent before adding someone to your list. So I feel like this covers that. So when in doubt, always give them an option to opt out. And it's all about building that relationship and not about burning any bridges. So this way, if you aren't doing a newsletter, maybe you start. I do it monthly. You might want to do it quarterly if you don't have a lot of time, whatever the case may be, but they're getting familiar with you. And as you're educating your other past clients, somebody who potentially is now in your lead funnel might be able to be like, you know what, I really like this individual and I'm going to reach out to them again. So at the end of the day, being ghosted is not a reflection of your value or your talent, because that's, of course, where our minds go, right? We instantly go to, oh my gosh, what have I done? It's just a signal to improve our systems. Stay proactive. Remember, sometimes it's not about you at all. It's more about them, and this is just part of running a business. If you found this episode helpful, a free way to support our show is by leaving a star, hopefully a 5-star rating, and review us on Apple or Spotify, all the places that you listen. It really helps others discover the Business of Beautiful Spaces podcast for interior designers, and it tells me what episodes you're loving. And hey, longtime listeners, I'd love to hear which episode has been your favorite so far. I'll be sharing some fan favorites in the next few weeks, and we're going to be doing a series, which is amazing, but I always want to know what you would love to hear about. So thanks for listening, and remember, your dream clients are out there, and your persistence and your professionalism will pay off. Have a great week.